the chair of this panel, Professor Dr. Razia Sultana. She is serving on second tenure as a Vice Chancellor in Shahid Benazir Bhutto Women University, which is Khyber Pakhtunkhwa first women university. She is a distinguished historian and a well-known provincial resident. She obtained a PhD from the Department of History at Peshawar University. She graduated from Center on International Cooperation, New York University, in history as a Fulbright scholar. Despite her academic expertise, Professor Dr. Razia Sultana has fine administrative experience in 3 discrete institutions, including Peshawar University, Quaid-e-Azam University, Islamabad, and Benazir Shahid University in Peshawar. I welcome you, ma'am, for your opening remarks of this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Uzma, and thank you so much, Dr. Shahid Minhas, STPIA, and in collaboration with the University of Sargodha for such an important topic, which is about whistleblowing and the challenges and how to deal with them. I think everyone is very much familiar what is happening in the academic circles, especially in the higher education institutions, especially in the context of research. There is in terms of pleasurism, probably that is the terminology which is used, and we take a lot of care when our teachers, our students, they are carrying out researches, and the Higher Education Commission has a key role that it has played, and it's for many years now that there is software, Turnitin, through which the plagiarism that is being detected or certified, if any research that has been produced by the institutions of higher education in our country. But this is too little, I think. This term whistleblowing is very broad. It's not just confined to research only, but it is all over our professional environment and our professional behavior that is reflected on that too. For example, the people who are at the helm of affair and the way they use their authority, or the excess of authority, or going beyond the exercise of authority, especially the people who are at the receiving end, and how they feel, and do they have this right or the avenues or the platform where they could address their grievance, or what are the mechanisms and what are the systems through which they could express their heartburning or their what they go through. So what I've noticed in the universities as a professor and now as a vice chancellor, that there are certain things that are in place. For example, as I mentioned about the plagiarism committee and the process that exists in all the universities, at least public sector universities in Pakistan. But there is also a harassment committees as well, where in general universities where the co-education that takes place, and so there is for example, in the semester system especially, that has been observed and noticed that in some cases the male teachers, they take excess or excessive behavior with the female students, or in very little cases with female teachers as well. So now there are harassment committees in the universities, harassment at the workplace, and sexual harassment as well. And but as we talk about the challenges, so there is a lot about the culture as well, that how effective these the committees and the performance of the committees, and how many cases are referred to, and how they were concluded, and what were the outcome of those. That also matters a lot. So quickly, I would say that a couple of mechanism exists in the higher education institutions in the country with support of Higher Education Commission. But overall, culturally, and in terms of the legal cover or legal support, that does not exist. What little I read about it, and there is only the legalize this whistleblower support. But other than that, probably this is the right time that we are. I think we are now behind the time that such kind debates are generated, and the right forums they are activated or encouraged, that the government is involved, and what is not yet being done in this regard, the legal cover, legislative cover that is provided to those who rightly want to express something wrong is happening, and they want to bring it into the notice of higher ups or the right quarters, and somehow they feel fearful, frightful, and they are not in a position to speak those things. They hide it, or they quiet for such reason, and the main reason is the fear. Probably their physical you see the physical, they want to avoid the physical their job security that is thought to be or considered to be damaged or harmed if certain things are informed or told to the quarter concerned about something wrong, ethically wrong or professionally wrong or socially wrong that is happening and in the higher education institutions. So I think it's a good debate, and it would be very fruitful for the policymakers, for the legal quarters, for the legislative quarter. Like the parliament is the right place where this debate has to extend it to the parliament too. So there has to be legislation about these things. They are happening from the parliament side as well. But I think it's a very broad debate, and it is all encompassing, and it's not just education. There are two aspects to it. One is formal, one is informal. Right now, when we talk about higher education institutions, so probably we are talking about the formal environment and the formal mechanism or systems. The lack of it or the existence of it can bring about that difference, which we see very little. Almost they are toothless, I must say. These committees, even that are formed and exist in some of the institutions, they even don't exist. R is a women university, and there is hardly any possibility of sexual harassment because they're all female. But still, the financial, you see, mismanagement also comes under this umbrella, and it's this umbrella term. And so such kind of things can happen, or administrative access, use of administrative power also comes under this cover. So this definition of the term. So I think this is I think a very broad societal terminology, and which has two aspects to it. One is formal, one is the informal. Informally, we are very used to it. We talk a lot about it. Something happen in seconds. You see, something happens, and in seconds, the entire society, the entire community comes to know that something wrong has happened, and in a different way. They don't take the name, but they identify it in such a way that you recognize that who that person could be. But that is very informal, and that makes it very casual, and that inconsequential. But formally it can become, but it need to be strengthened at the institutional level, the mechanisms and support from the government and from the umbrella organizations that could make a difference into it. So I think the very lively presence is over here, and the rest would like I leave to them, that they could include, you see, add to this debate, and I love to listen to them, to Dr. Sajda Noreen and Fatima and Uzma and you join us or has joined us. So I think that would be very truthful. Thank you.
Thank are somehow facing the bad governance, and perhaps there is a need to have a good governance model to address all these issues which you have mentioned very rightly. And with your opening remarks, I think I'll request to Dr. Saba, maybe to whom I should call right now, maybe Dr. Sajda, perhaps, if you allow me, Dr. Usma, Dr. Sajda Noreen, she is the Vice Chancellor of Sardar Bahadur Khan Women University, Balochistan, Quetta. She is a dynamic person and a dedicated academician, having a vast experience of contributing in higher education, conducting workshops, webinars, and doing research on the issues of education witness. What are the consequences of blowing a whistle in an environment where there is a male dominating society, where there are malpractices, where there's a game of interest is moving around, that how one should blow a whistle and what would be the consequences of that whistle blowing, and how to get out of all this in a very graceful manner. With these few remarks, with these kind words, let me invite Dr. Saida Noreen, Vice Chancellor, Women University, Balochistan. So over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shahid Manaz and Dr. Usma, and I'm grateful to you for providing this opportunity as Vice Chancellor Sardar Bahadur Khan Women's University. And this is the only university in Balochistan providing quality education and research to women folk of this province. As far as the topic is concerned, I would like to share my views on the topic on organizational environment and reporting. I'm grateful to Dr. Razia, who pointed out that organizations have their own dynamics, and as far as the environment in higher education institutions in Pakistan, I personally believe that universities are human entities, and they are part of those societies in which they exist. Even in those societies which are male-dominated societies, if you look at the past and at the history, whistleblowers always felt difficulties. So look at the history. Most difficult things in societies is to speak the truth. So whistleblowing is sometimes very difficult for those organizations. We can have different examples of those who spoke the truth and they're facing difficulties, like Socrates in Greek history, and then Galileo. We have so many examples. In modern Julian Assange is in prison for 8 years. To blow the whistle. However, I believe that in our society and in
Dr.
I
Saab
guess
probably has a problem.
जी आई थिंक उनका शायद ड्रॉप हो गया है एक आधा मिनट देख लेते हैं फिर अदरवाइज फिर दूसरे स्पीकर से रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे
Sure.
कहीं विसल तो नहीं ब्लो हो गई
पहला शिकार.
so, so I think
Balochistan, she started speaking about Balochistan. And speaking truth in Balochistan is very hard. She's correct.
Very right.
We can say the consequences of whistleblowing.
अभी तो उन्होंने कोई बात ही नहीं की थी
No, there's just the topic was enough.
yeah very true so I think Dr. Usman let's have the next panelist फिर हम उनसे
I think so. According to the agenda of the conference, there was a turn of Dr. Nargis Abbas Mirza, the lead of this conference and the PI of NRBU, University of Sargodha. But I would like to ask Sir Shahid Minhas, to whom I may invite now.
So, in my opinion, although technically she sound कि हम Dr. Uzma, Dr. Nargis को ले रहे हैं, but my humble suggestion would be let's listen to the other panelists and फिर उसके बाद वो फिर Dr. Nargis जो हैं वो अपनी वो जो है वो findings भी share कर लें उनके साथ. Let's have
And
the
sir,
other.
I have seen the hand raised by Dr. Fatma Rehandar. I think so she is more eager to be our next speaker. Am I right, respected ma'am?
Thank you very much. मैंने तो वैसे मक्खी हाथ से उड़ाई थी, लेकिन चलिए.
क्या कमाल मक्खी उड़ाई आपने.
Actually, ma'am, our topic is too much sensitive that our brain is today is just tuned that everything is having some meaning for us.
Right. लेकिन I can go. लेकिन मैंने हकीकतन मक्खी उड़ाने की कोशिश की थी, तो वो शायद आ गया.
बस ये ऐसी विशल बनाएंगे जाएंगे ये मक्खियां उड़ जाएं नजदीक ही ना आए.
Before your
Akib Suhail is there and he has raised hand, I think so. No.
So I can go if you want. I am ready.
Yeah, madam. Before going your wonderful talk we are expecting for, I have a brief introduction for respected next panelist, Dr. Fatma Rehandar. Dr. Fatma Rehandar works as a director, Institute for Global Cooperation and Outreach at Iqra University, Karachi. Previously, she was director, Center for Teaching Excellence and Learning Innovation at the same university. Dr. Dar holds a PhD in education from School of Education and Cognitive Sciences. She has been associated with the Education Department of other academic institutions, including the different national universities, including Aga Khan University. So I welcome you, respected madam, for your wonderful thought-provoking session. Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to talk to this August forum. This topic is unique in itself because in my 26 years in the teaching profession, I haven't come across a debate on this very important topic, and I am thankful to the organizers, to Shahid Saab, University of Sargodha, and HEC for organizing this very important topic. The other speakers before me have laid a very good foundation of what whistleblowing is and what needs to be done in terms of legislation. I would just like to talk about the element of social integrity in higher education institutions and how whistleblowing can do its job in order to maintain a respectable identity of all. So when we talk about social integrity, what we need to find out is that who upholds social integrity. So to me, in a university, I think that we are all stakeholders in upholding the social fabric, the respectable fabric of the university in our hands, whether it's the vice chancellor or academic deans or directors, staff, students. I think that all of us are responsible for upholding it. Now, how do we do that? Now, there are various mechanisms to do that, but given my background in education, I feel that it's through an everlasting professional learning community that we keep talking about such important issues and have a proper mechanism in place. You see, unless we have proper accountability measures at various tiers of hierarchy, I don't think that this social integrity can be upheld. So what I mean by that is that if, for example, one is the head of the institution, so he or she should not be debarred from from keeping respectable practices at an institution. So a violation of law can be done by anybody, not just a typical tier, but anyone. Gross mismanagement, misuse of power. Now this cuts across all sections. So in order to maintain that, it is very important to have proper mechanisms in place. So once we have these proper mechanisms, I don't think that this problem will crop up, at a monstrous level. Right now, in different institutions, this problem is in place, although it is not talked about, but is definitely in place. Now, is important is to have a very inclusive culture, a culture where debate is welcomed, a culture where we continue to hold effective dialogues on various issues. It is some things are not done behind closed doors. It's an open community, and that's how you make a professional learning community. When you have an open learning community, an open community with people from different tiers of university or any educational institutions, they take part in the collective growth of an institutions. Then these things don't crop up. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is that the confidence to actually talk about issues. Now, what I have seen over the years is that people do not have the required confidence to talk about it. And now, again, there are two things. One, are there proper rules and regulations in place? And I think that as Dr. Razia talked about in her talk, that there is the KP government took the initiative of having the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Whistleblower Protection and Vigilance Commission, which was formed in 2016. So that is something which is in place in KP. This is again something to happen across provinces. Now, other provinces have the Right to Information Act. Other provinces have the Freedom of Information Act in place through different provincial legislatures. But this thing is something that needs to be regulated. If you look at universities across the world, the Russell Group of Universities in England, they have whistleblower policies in place. Cambridge has it, Warwick has it, and other universities in America has it. Fordham University has it, and all across Europe and all across America, good universities have whistleblowing policies. So then the internal mechanisms have a checking system. Then, people do not shy away of pronouncing the issues that are in place there. So again, one thing that can be a takeaway, from this dialogue is that we, in our universities, we make an effort to have whistleblowing policies. Because what happens, it creates a very bad culture that we keep talking about issues, but we do not know where to put it in the proper framework, where to sort of speak about it. And then what happens is that sometimes, internal differences are created, but when something is heard from an external source and it comes internally, that's a bad thing. I think that through whistleblowing policy, problems need to be highlighted internally. Because when people keep talking about it, and what happens? It creates a toxic culture. And with the toxic culture, I don't think that proper professional growth is possible of any university. So my request is that one, we need to uphold the social integrity of workplaces through the creation of different policy, and especially whistleblowing policy. We need to have an inclusive culture where dialogues are possible. You see, universities are so cognitively driven these days. And what I mean by cognitively driven is that all of us at different tiers of hierarchy are so busy in teaching that we hardly get time to talk about creation of a nice, socially cohesive culture at workplaces. And problems erupt because people don't talk to each other. Problems erupt because the one who is in power, makes good use of the power, and I good use quote unquote. So in order to ward off these things, we need to talk to each other, hold healthy debates. These forums are important. Why don't we have these forums within universities also, where people from different tiers, they get on one platform and talk about it? Why is it that only few people are in charge of regulating the mechanisms? Why not all of them? In other universities across the world, students are part of of these different debates, because they are major stakeholders. Parents are major stakeholders. So through this, you create a very cohesive culture where all stakeholders are on board, and then the problems don't erupt. And that's how you have social integrity. And that is the major subject of my talk, that we need to ward off such things first of all. And if these things happen, then whistleblowing policy acts should be in universities. HEC came out with, as Dr. Razia told you, about HEC harassment policy, which became effective from July 1st, 2020. And all universities need to abide by stricter laws in order to have these in place. So similarly, we need to have these so that people get the right kind of, the backhand support if they want to report malpractice. And I would not go into the details of what malpractices are. I think I have talked enough. So I would be eager to listen to other, participants also. But that was my take on, on upholding the social integrity of workplaces and warding off these ills, and then also seeing that proper policy mechanisms are in place. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Madam, for your wonderful, thought-provoking and very vibrant talk regarding this sensitive issue. I may conclude by arguing that though whistleblowing as a fearless speech is a micro-political practice, and as such does not have the same political effect as collective democratic actions such as voting, demonstrating, or going on strike, it nonetheless keeps liberal democracies vibrant. Thank you once again, respected madam. And I will go toward the Mr. Shahid Minhas. Kindly let me know who will be the next speaker, as Madam Dr. Saida Noreen is back with us.
I think welcome Dr. Saida back, and Dr. Saida may like to continue. डॉक्टर साहिदा, हम कह रहे थे कहीं विसल तो नहीं ब्लो हो गई, आपने इतनी ज़बरदस्त एंट्री की है, तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह चीज़ें ठीक हैं. सो आई थिंक प्लीज़ कंटिन्यू फ्रॉम वेयर यू वर ड्रॉप्ड. सो आई थिंक डॉक्टर साहिदा प्लीज़ कंटिन्यू, फिर उनके बाद डॉक्टर जिम की तरफ जाएंगे हम.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shahid Manhas. I'm extremely sorry for the interruption because of technical problems. Now I'm back, and I was talking about organization, environment, and reporting. I must point out here that creative, conducive environment is the responsibility of higher educational institutions, management, and leadership. So these kind of environments where students and teachers are encouraged to blow the whistle for wrongdoings, creating the environment through formal structure and informal structures are very important in this respect, in the light of vision, mission, and core values of that institution. By looking at the different institutions and higher education institutions, universities around the globe, The concept of whistleblowing is situated within the horizon of higher education institutions or organization or government establishment with the objective of promoting the truth and saving the societies from being harmed. No doubt, with this notion, we are running the institutions by providing those structures which encourage truth and speakers of speaks those people who are speaking the truth in the environment and not being discouraged by others or those people who are not accepting this. So it is very important for us to see the idea with the perspective, different perspectives. These conventional motivations or motives of whistleblowing are similar with that of Islamic general motives, I believe, because the central message of Islam revolves around ethics. So whistleblowing on wrongdoing is directly related to those ethics which prevails in Islam. To view the concept of whistleblowing Islamically, there's need to trace its origin, which could be found in the context of ethics. And ethics as part of Islamic teaching guides the conduct of human life, both personally in the workplace. Although we have different laws, like Dr. Razia pointed out that in higher educational institutions and universities, there are laws which are enforced the employees and employers to blow the whistle on wrongdoing and malpractices. We have similar practices over here, like we have anti-harassment committee, which is very effective, and people come forward and they point out those wrongdoings in their environment. But the most important thing that matters is that how we perceive these kind of practices. Like if we as a society and as a community of learned people, if we encourage those practices, then it is sometimes unacceptable for the majority of people कि अगर कोई सच बोल रहा है, so people want to punish them. It's a normal practice here. So basically, it's because of the fabric of the society in which what kind of values are existing. If we are living in a society in where we encourage those people who want to point out the malpractices, and we want them to come forward, then the situation will improve gradually. Otherwise, there are so many difficulties and barriers for whistleblowers. Whistleblowing leads to good and bad results, I must say. The benefits of carefully considered whistleblowing can lead to the end of unethical business practices. The lives of individuals and whole communities have been saved by whistleblowers, no doubt. The actions of whistleblowers are potentially beneficial to society, no doubt, and we must encourage this culture in higher education institutions. Thank you very much. Over to you, Minhasa.
Thank you, Dr. Saida, for your very generous thoughts and sharing. I think let's move to the next panelist, and let me invite Dr. Maybe let me invite Dr. Anjum Zia. Dr. Anjum Zia is the Dean Faculty of Media and Communication at the University of Management and Technology, Lahore. Prior to joining this position, she was serving at Lahore College for Women University, Lahore, for I think more than 25 years. And she's been a dynamic personality, a very very active a member of the university for conducting interviews, for heading the communication department over there, and for managing all the media activities for all the TV programs for the vice chancellors and for projecting the university. I think because of her dynamic career and her contribution, she's been picked quickly by the University of Management and Technology, and we believe that she'll be contributing a lot to improve the quality standard of the University of Management Technology. And we are our best wishes and prayer with Dr. Anjum. We would like to listen you that please do share, because you've been part of a university which is in a city which is sort of very renowned in terms of its social activities, its liberalism, its dynamic. How is there any sort of challenges that you have observed being a female institution? And if yes, then how you come up with the solution and remedies? And is there any example of blowing a whistle in that university, or have you observed in your surrounding? And if yes, then what were the wrong practices, and how you come up with the remedies and solutions? Please share your thoughts. Over to Dr. Anjum Zia.
Thank you, Shahid sir, for a very detailed introduction, and congratulations. Actually, uh, I think so. Are you people getting me? Because the the voice of Azan is maybe more than me. So if it's
Yes,
okay,
I
I'll
think
continue.
yes, we should stop. We should listen Azan, and then we
Yeah,
will.
because
Yes.
it's very near to my office, and we have to be.
It's a whistle blowing for humanity from Almighty Allah, and we must listen that whistle too. So.
Yes, welcome. That's right.
मैडम रजिया, मैंने ना आपको एक वॉइस मैसेज भेजा है, वो जरा देख लीजिएगा जब भी टाइम मिले डॉक्टर। मेरा ख्याल है डॉक्टर अंजुम
So,
अजान तो हो गई ना कंप्लीट? अजान हो गई का मुकम्मल?
जी हो गई।
जी ठीक है।
I'm sorry, actually मैं बहुत close हूँ तो इसलिए। Okay, first of all, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak at this important forum, and I would like to appreciate the University of Sargodha and HEC and particularly SDPI Shahid Saab for arranging this international conference on an important issue of whistleblowing. This concept needs significant debate and discussion with reference to Pakistan. Therefore, I congratulate to the organizers and hope that this conference will create awareness and will bring significant change in the behavior of our teaching faculty, inshallah. So as long as term whistleblowing is considered, it is not new. Primarily, it used in games. We all know that to stop illicit actions or fouls, we use whistleblowing. Whistleblowing is an essential and significant tool to report any type of misconduct or unethical act. It is particularly focused to report wrongdoings within the organizations or the institution. Number of research studies has been conducted on this issue, and the findings has been published. And recent years, I have seen so many articles on it. And its publication is certainly, it is creating awareness regarding the importance of whistleblowing, especially in various public and private sector institutions and organizations. But it has also been observed that practice of whistleblowing is in the benefit of the organization itself. That's why I was working with the faculty members or the teachers, what type of intentions they have when they want to blow the whistle, and what are the main barriers, why they are not ready to do this, and what could be the remedies. So as I say, that this is in the benefit of the organization if the employees are ready to do this act of whistleblowing, because this act facilitates in promoting the organizational progress and effectiveness. If someone points out the wrongdoings or the misconduct, only then the organization or the institution can take certain actions or certain measures to resolve the issue, which will strengthen the environment or the trust and comfort level of the employees. So that's why I believe that this is in the benefit of the organization, that they should encourage their employees to do this act. Because such an environment will improve the quality of employees' work inside the organization. And secondly, it will create, or it will reduce rather, the distance between the authorities and the lower level managements, and between the administration and the teaching faculty. So this is very important that organizations should focus on this act. It must be done by every person who is going through such type of misconduct or unethical activities. So I can say that in case of institutions, the act of whistleblowing can play a functional role in empowering our teachers towards raising voice against wrongdoings within organization or institutions. As far as the whistleblowing intentions are concerned, I was interacting with the teachers and asking about that. What intentions make them to blow the whistles? And we all know that education plays a significant and important role in development and growth of a country, and considered as a noble effort, noble profession. Likewise, the teachers in higher education institution always played diversified role in intellectual, as personal and professional development of the students. In Pakistan, the prospective teachers in higher education sector face challenges and obstacles as they seek to research, teach, and serve the community. So it is essential to focus on finding out the perceptions of the teachers about the whistleblowing and investigate how their perception impact their intentions, report wrongdoings within the institutions. So I have identified certain factors which can influence the intentions of the whistleblowers. There are many factors, but I'll talk about the first of all, I will talk about that there should be influence on their behavior and intention of teachers to report wrongdoing. For example, if moral responsibility and loyalty with the institutions, if the faculty members, they have moral responsibility, because whistleblowing, for me, it is all moral choice, and also shows loyalty to the institution or to the organization, then they can come up and they are able to blow the whistle, or they have the potential to talk about the things which is happening unethically in the institutions. Similarly, ethical responsibility and judgments, basically that covers if someone has certain evidence to prove that this misconduct has been created or it has been done, then it's easy for the teachers to point out, and they have the intention to talk about the wrongdoings because they can provide the proofs to the management. That's why they can get the, you can say that, potential to talk about the wrongdoings in the university or the institutions. Then institutional commitment. If someone has very strong institutional commitment, then I must say that higher the commitment, higher the intention to talk about the wrongdoings or blow the whistle. Another important thing is internal locus of control. There are certain people, certain faculty members or the teachers in the institutions who believe that they have a very strong character and they have very strong potential, or they are mentally, they are very strong and they can talk about the whistleblowing, or they can talk about the misdoings and the wrongdoings in the institution, and they can face the challenge also, and they can answer to everyone. They can face every type of pressures which being imposed by the other members maybe, or by the authorities. So when I was talking about these things, then there was another thing in my mind, that what are the fears, why they are, if someone has the potential or don't have the potential, there should be certain fears, why they are not. They are aware, but they are not blowing the whistle. What are the basic factors? What are the basic reasons, or are the barriers and fear factors in blowing whistle? So it is because what I believe, it is vital to address those fear factors of not blowing whistle due to certain problems and social setups of Pakistan, because these factors can have an adverse effect on this particular act of whistleblowing. So when I was collecting the different factors, what these fears can be, the first challenge which came to me, or discovered or diagnosed, or you can say investigated by me, it was fear of retaliation and self-protection. Because this is the biggest challenge. People may take revenge in reaction. The majority faculty members or teachers, they say that we are not ready to blow the whistles because there are certain type of people around us. They can take revenge, and maybe they are not in position to face that or absorb that type of revenge. So they are not ready to take the reactions they might have after blowing the whistle, and they preferred to keep quiet. Second fear which I have identified is the fear of isolation, because they were also like they keep taking care of self-protection also, because there is, in institutions, there is not such system who can provide protection properly to the whistleblowers. Although we have certain committees, maybe harassment committee or whistleblowing committee, it has been established in various institutions, and but unfortunately, they are not very influential. They are not working properly, or they are not providing the protection to the whistleblowers. So another fear which I have identified is fear of isolation. They were on the point of view that they may be alone after blowing a certain whistle on wrongdoings or misconducts. So they have to, if they raise the voice against wrongdoing, they will be alone to face the music. So that was another type of factor which refrained them to talk about the whistleblowing or to do this act, and they remain silent. Then there was another fear, and which is very obvious, and that is job threats. All the members of our institutions, they are not working for their interest only. They must have certain limitations. They have to face, they have to serve their family member, they have to support their husband, their children, or they have to raise their families to earn the livelihood for herself or himself also. So if they have certain threats that they will be losing their job after blowing the whistle, that is a very big fear. And I think there is a need to work on it, this particularly to give them this job security. Then another thing which I have pointed out is, I want to point it out, is the self-esteem. Sometimes you never talk about such actions which can damage your positive self-image. And there are certain activities wrongdoing activities. If you talk about that, maybe you are not in position to prove that, to provide the evidence, then definitely you have to face other way around the music, and your self-esteem will be hurted. So this was another important factor. That's why teachers are maybe sometimes very senior teachers, they are not ready to involve in such activities because they don't want to hurt themselves, and sometimes they don't have much time to talk about such things and involve in such activities. So they say, "Jo ho raha hai, hone de, hum kya kare?" So ye to aise hi hai. This is happening all over the Pakistan in the same way. So ye bada simple jawab hota hai, and mostly I receive such a type of answers from them. So there are so many other fears, but I can focus on these 4. And I think so all these fears creates insecure atmosphere. And in insecure atmosphere, which is always problematic, no one can work properly, and you cannot use your potential properly to serve the institutions. So that's why I must say that there should be certain measures for the improvement of the situation, improvement of the working environment in the universities or in the institutions, whether it's university or other type of organizations. So I would like to give some of the recommendations. First recommendation, I must say I may conclude in a way that implementation of whistleblowing needs behavior change. So this is my conclusion after all these factors. If we want that everyone should come with and do this act, if she or he is watching certain unethical and illegal or wrongdoings is happening in the university or in their organization, they should change their behavior according to that. Otherwise, it will be the same. We will arrange so many conferences on it. We are going to develop so many committees for this purpose, but the reaction could not be the perfect or the positive. So I may conclude that there is need to change the behavior of the teachers or other employees regarding whistleblowing. And for that purpose, I may recommend there is a dire need, I must say, dire need to understand and create awareness about that if there is a whistleblower, we should appreciate to these whistleblowers. So appreciation is must, because opposing a power structure in institution needs courage. The people who are the whistleblowers, they are courageous. Let me share another of my experience when I was getting the data. People talk about the misconducts, wrongdoings, but mostly they say that particular faculty member told me that this faculty member was involved in it. It wasn't me. I was not directly involved, because they don't want any type of problem with ourselves. So that's why they need courage. We have to give the courage to the faculty members or the teachers or the other employees, whether in administrative job or in teaching sector. We should encourage them. If they are whistleblowers, we should encourage their act, and they should be appreciated for their effort. Whistleblowing is, we should tell them, we should train them that whistleblowing is a good behavior that needs to be rewarded rather than punishment. So you should we should create such environment and give them trainings that they should, what I can say, voluntarily they come forward. Another recommendation which I would like to give is the reconstruct of hierarchical model of our society. This is a big task, but we have to start from one point, definitely. We have to take first step, because higher education institutions reform the hierarchic model also and give the confidence and support the teachers in reporting wrongdoing within the institution to avoid academic misconducts. If we revise our policies, then definitely we can bring the good and positive results. And that is my last recommendation, that redesign the organizational policies, whether it's institutions or other organizations. We should have to redesign the organization policies with reference to whistleblowing. It should not be considered as an act of employee disobedience, and it should not be taken as crime. Rather, it should be rewarded so that someone feel encouraged and talk about the wrongdoings, and they should become a strong whistleblower. These are the recommendations which not only strengthen the teaching community, but also improve the current educational environment also. I thank you all.
Thank you so much, respected madam. You are wonderful with your thought and research work basing on your data. Actually, this is a validation of our previously conducted research and a publication we have published already. Dr. Nargis as a PI and I as a co-PI have joint publications. And in the next session, I am going to present some results like this. And in this session, I am being validated by you. We are honored. Actually, madam, you talk about the locus of control and the sense of responsibility among the employees regarding their role in the organization. Actually, while we are talking about the dishonesty towards the organization, there are two modes of whistleblowing. One is outside the organization and the other one is within the organization. Sometimes blowing the whistle outside the organization may create defaming of that organization. So we must encourage within the organization whistleblowing mechanisms.
Yes, that's right.
But people will blow the whistle when they have the definitely mechanisms where they can have trust over the concerned bodies, that when they are blowing the whistle, they are going to give some references for any type of misconduct, and they are not being victimized. They will definitely perceive that this is their responsibility, their commitment level and loyalty toward the organization will increase. Thank you so much, madam.
Exactly.
With these words, I would love to invite the lead of this conference, Principal Investigator of NRPU, Dr. Nargis Abbas Mirza. She is Assistant Professor, Department of Education, University of Sargodha. She did her PhD in Education from Faculty of Education, University de Strasbourg, France. She completed her postdoctorate in Information Technology, Integration in Teaching from France. In addition to this, she is MS Education, Specialization in Learning and Mediation, Faculty of Education, University of Strasbourg. Master of Education, MSc in Applied Mathematics, and much more on her credit. She has been involved in teaching and research supervision of PhD, MPhil, and master research projects and MPhil scholars. Along with administrative duties, she is currently working as a Deputy Chairman Hall Council for all campuses, hostels, University of the Sargodha, having a strength of around about 9,000 currently. She served as a Deputy Director Student Affairs. She served as a Deputy Director ORIC, University of Sargodha, and much more on her part. I welcome her to share some results from the findings of 2-year research project, which till yet we have completed and 1 year remaining ahead. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Uzma Ashik. I am humbled to all my participant panelists of this conference. In fact, what we did in 2 years, I feel that all has validated in this talk. जो हमारा panel चले हैं दोनों, first panel and as well as the second panel, and I'm looking forward for the third panel also. And I'm very happy that we are going in the right stream, and we are meeting with the like-minded people, and it's a great honor for us. Thank you so much. Due to the shortage of time, I'm not going to waste the time by presenting the slides. I just share what we were doing in these 2 years. In fact, the higher education institution, it has been emphasized that the traditional practices are being followed, just like my other fellows have discussed and pondered the light on this issue. And due to these things, we directed us, these all things directed us to research in this phenomenon, in this field, in order to search something which may be beneficial for higher educational institution. Why higher educational institution? This is the big question. In cooperative societies, cooperative organization, private organizations, enterprises, yes, there may be, but why higher education institution? For me, higher education institution is that institution which basically develops the society, which develops the nation. What kind of a nation you want, what kind of a generation you want, what kind of a developed country you want, it all depends upon the higher education institution and its environment. That is why we took a lead and chose higher education institutions. So very briefly, what were the objectives of our research? I will ponder some light without wasting time on the literature, what the literature are saying. Everything has been explained, and I'm looking forward to listen more. Here, I would try to explain the three-tiered model, three-tiered whistleblower protection model, UK, PIDA. Basically, Public Interest Disclosure Act was introduced in 1998 in UK and amended in 2013. And they talk about also the 3 levels of organization, proxy of the society, and the society. So these are the 3 levels of the whistleblowing. So you may say the behavior of the whistleblower, the one which those who blow the whistle within the organization, and the second level, those who blow the whistle but outside the organization but remains in the proxy of the society, and the third one blows outside of that proxy and organization, and those are called the external whistleblowing. So as my worthy panelist says, that if there is a proper mechanism already working in the organization and in a fair means are available, proper mechanism, policy are available, then there will be no need to whistle outside the organization, which may, or in some cases it is true, it is the cause of the defaming the organizations. So basis on various models which are already exist in the whistleblowing, we identified the gap between the literature, the gap of methodology, gap of theory. So theoretical gap was an approved whistleblowing policy is not present in higher education institution as far as Pakistan is concerned. Yes, Sexual Harassment Act is passed, bill is there, but overall whistleblowing or reporting some wrongdoing, the mechanism is absent in higher education institutions. So this was the theoretical gap. Number 2, methodological gap. Methodological gap means a well-established qualitative and quantitative report assessment procedure is not present. And third one is procedure gap. Might be this is the most important thing. If you do not have the well-established procedure, वो कहते हैं ना कि justice delayed is injustice. So Procedure gap reporting procedure of unethical act, theft, fraud, corruption act, corruption of any kind. If we are dealing higher education institution, it may be academic theft, academic dishonesty. In the first session, Dr. Abdul Salari also mentioned these kind of thefts, fudging the data, cooking the data, altering the results. These are also the corruptions. Act is not basically a practice due to unavailability or weak whistleblowing mechanism. So if there is a strong mechanism present in the higher education institutions, so we can control these kind of wrongdoings at a very initial level. So these three kind of gaps were identified, and then we move towards the objectives of our research. Basically, 2 years have been passed, and we are moving we are currently facing the third year, and it is going to be finished very soon also. The objective was to analyze the social, psychological, situational factors of this whistleblowing in a higher education institution, and then we will definitely we would theorize some model, and we have achieved that objective. Secondly, was the developing some standardized instrument in order to investigate the whistleblowing practices in public sector universities of Pakistan, especially Punjab. And what were the contributing factors behind that? Yes, we are in that process. In fact, we have developed our instrument at this moment, and we are in the stage where we will collect the data from the various universities of the Punjab in order to validate our model, our own proposed model, theorized model. And similarly, the third and major objective of our project basically is to suggest some whistleblowing policy, some suggestions for policy or mechanism. So for which I'm very thankful to Dr. Abdul Salari, who extended his cooperation in this regard to that they will be there if we need some kind of help regarding the policy development. So these are the major objectives of this project. Last but not least, as my all panelists indicate this thing, changing of behavior. Changing of behavior is a very difficult task. Might be in some situations it is impossible, because as the student of psychology, I know that attitude and behaviors are so much complex phenomenon that we can't analyze anything, or we can't predict about a person what he is going to be. So yes, there is a way by providing the awareness to the people, by educating them. We can bring some change, we can modify their behavior, we can modify some attitude. So our last objective of this project is basically to initiate the capacity building programs for effective usage of whistleblowing. So these is the whole scenario of our project, and 2/3 of the part we have already achieved, 1/3 is left, and we are in the middle of completing that part too. So our research, there is also a question that what the benefit or the quantifiable you can say impact of this research would be. Yes, this research I hope it will help the higher education institution to rectify the employee related corruption threat and the fraud, as well as the identification of the communication of their ethical concerns. Yes, sometimes communication error creates a lot of problem. So that channel, which we can say the communication channel, that must be proper and thorough, so that ethical concerns may be dealt internally, and we can say at place of externally. yes, it would be significant for the university employees, in a sense that their concerns will be considered seriously and viable mechanism would be developed so the employees will feel convenient to communicate their employment related concerns through proper channel whenever they feel any reservation. In our first opening session, Dr. Athar Mehboob indicated a very crucial situation regarding the vice chancellors. They had to face many things, for example, the media trials. Even they are doing the right things, but they have to face. So recently we see that the present government also initiated the fake news bill. They are moving towards the controlling the fake news, which create some kind of unrest in the society. And this project, we hope that it will envisage that the present study would guide the management and the internal control system of public sector universities to better understand the role of whistleblowing procedures in reporting wrongful act of the employees. So regarding the victimization of the whistleblower, if there is a proper mechanism, well-established mechanism, then we can even control the victimization of the whistleblower. Sometimes they had to suffer a lot, which Dr. Anjum Zia also mentioned. Sometimes societal pressure make him or her so much depressed that even though he is a victim, he has lost something, but become the sufferer again. Not the wrongdoer, but the victim become even more sufferer after whistleblowing. So that kind of mechanism will definitely stop or at least diminish the level of suffering or the victimization of the whistleblower. So what kind of factors and we have found, it will be presented by Dr. Uzma Ashik in the third panel, our technical session 2, inshallah. And here I will finish my talk because I'm very happy to hear you all, you can say the galaxy of superstars. I'm really humbled and I feel great honor to listen you all. I felt myself after a long time that I am living around the really intellectual cream, not only of the Pakistan, but of the Asia, or I must say of whole world. I offer my gratitude to all my vice chancellors, my deans, my directors, everybody who participated in this panel or the panel earlier or the later. I'm highly obliged, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, dear Madam Dr. Nargis Abbas, for your worthwhile talk, sharing the results of your research. Now I'm feeling immense pleasure to introduce the man of this conference, Mr. Shahid Minhas.
You can say man of the match, ma'am.
Yes, man of the day, you may say. Shahid Minhas holds a master in social sciences and had over 22 years of experience of working with development sector, work with UNICEF, WPF, University of Gujarat, and international organizations for health and education. By profession, he is a leadership and development trainer. He has conducted a large number of trainings at national and international level. He holds a master's degree in Pakistan Studies, Learning and Development Head in SDBI currently. And what I felt by myself working in a team while organizing this international conference, I would acknowledge on behalf of Dr. Nargis and myself that it wouldn't be possible to have all of you on this platform without Sir Shahid Minhas. Actually, he is the actual star of the SDPI, and we are just humbled to Dr. Qayyum Salari that he allowed him to participate and to give us an opportunity to join the hands. Actually, while working day and night to make it possible, I learned a lot from respected sir. He is really generous, kind, and he has a real sense of team spirit and how to work with the juniors like me. He know very well. He is humbled, and I am really going to salute him.
Thank you,
Please, sir,
bro. Thank you so much for your
you're
kind
more
words.
than
I think
welcome.
it's really great honor and pleasure to be part of the team and to part of this event and conference. It always been great pleasure to engage my academia fellow, all respectable vice chancellors, deans, faculty members, because I believe that if we really want to bring a change, then there is no way except engaging the academia. Academia is the uh, base. If we really want to bring change in a society, we must focus on academia. And I always say, if there is a higher education commission, then we must have a basic education commission to bring behavioral change among the students, among the kids. From the very beginning, they should learn attitudes, practice, behaviors, ethics, values, all that. So that will be reflecting in the later years of life. So this is my humble submission to the policymakers, to all the panels, to all the panelists, to everywhere. So thank you so much. I'm really learned a lot. I learned a great deal from Dr. Nargis, Dr. Uzma, and from all the learned panelists. It's a new, totally new thought and concept for me when I was entered into this triangle of this conference. Uh, if I may allow Adnan Sab to share my screen, I would like to share 2, 3, 4 slides, which are perhaps those similar to those which you have actually expressed. So I just wanted to reflect a visual perspective of the thoughts which have been shared right now. कोई मुझे
Sir,
allow करेगा?
you can share your screen now, sir. I've allowed you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Share screen or okay. जी मेरी स्क्रीन नजर आ रही सबको? मेरी स्क्रीन आ
sir.
रही था, दिखाई दे रही?
जी सर
Yeah,
आ रही है.
It's
Okay.
visible.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thank you so much. जो बातें सबने की, खासकर इस वाले पैनल में वो और ख़ासकर जो डॉक्टर अंजुम ने बात कही, डॉक्टर नरगिस आपने जो बात कही, वो बातें जो हैं उनके कॉन्टेक्स्ट में देखें तो मेरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग ये डेवलप हुई पिछले कुछ सालों में कि वैल्यूज़ रियली मैटर्स. If we really want to bring a change in a society, if we really want to practice good things, और ethical choices जो है वो that is the secondary thing. Values वो हैं जो मैं अपने पास से लेके आ रहा हूँ, अपने घर से लेके आ रहा हूँ या आ रही हूँ. एथिकल चॉइसेस वो हैं जो सोसाइटी मुझे दे रही है. एथिकली वो मुझे एक्सेप्ट करती है, नहीं करती, वो मुझे स्पेस देती है, क्वेश्चन देती है, नहीं देती. सो मैंने चंद एक स्लाइड उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में बनाई हैं, और उसमें अगर हम देखें तो ज़रूरत क्यों पेश आती है विसल ब्लो करने की. सब ने आपने ये बातें शेयर कर ली कि जब हमारा कोई राइट जो है वो निगलेक्ट हो रहा हो, जब हमें कोई अपना राइट ना मिल रहा हो, या कोई रूल जो है वायलेट हो रहे हो, हमें उसकी तकलीफ होती है. या फिर ये है कि अगर कहीं पे हैरेस किया जा रहा हो, चाहे वो सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट है, सोशल हैरेसमेंट है, फाइनेंशियल एम्बेजलमेंट है, कुछ भी चीज़ है, तो ये वो चीज़ें हैं जिसकी वजह से हमें विसल ब्लो करने की ज़रूरत पड़ती है. और इसमें अगर हम देखें तो विसल ब्लो करना हमारा हक तो है, लेकिन जो इसकी कॉस्ट में पे करनी पड़ती है, क्या हम उसके लिए वाकई तैयार हैं? वो कॉस्ट है कितनी? कहने को तो हम सब लोग कहेंगे कि जी बिल्कुल हम उस कॉस्ट को पे कर देंगे, اب اس کاسٹ کو پے کرنے کی 3 ٹرائنگلز ہیں. مطلب ایک ٹرائنگل ہے جس کے 3 کمپوننٹ ہیں. ایک تو یہ ہے کہ میری ویلیوز, میری رسپیکٹ, میری تھاٹس اور میری لمیٹیشن, اور دوسرا ہے کہ میری جو رسپانسبلٹی ہے ٹو رن دا کچن, ٹو ایز اے بریڈ ارنر فار مائی فیملی, اس کو مجھے دیکھنا ہے. اور تیسرا ہے کہ کیا جب میں یہ وسل بلو کروں گا تو کیا میں اس اسٹیٹس پہ سوشلی اس اسٹیٹس پہ رہ پاؤں گا یا رہ پاؤں گی کہ نہیں, یا میں اپنی جاب کو سیکیور کر پاؤں گا یا نہیں کر پاؤں گی. کیونکہ یہ 3 چیزوں کے درمیان جو جنگ چل رہی ہوتی ہے موسٹ آف دا ٹائم, particularly the female colleagues, they have to suffer a lot, they have to compromise a lot. وہ اپنی فیملی کے لیے, اپنے کچن کے لیے, اپنے بچوں کے لیے وہ بہت سارے معاشرے کی خرافات, مرد کی خرافات کو برداشت کر لیتی ہیں. اور اس سوسائٹی میں جو ہے وہ صرف اس لیے وہ چل رہی ہوتی ہیں کہ کیونکہ ان کی ذمہ داریاں جو ہیں وہ زیادہ بڑی ہیں, ان کی جو سوسائٹی ان کے ساتھ مس میچ کر رہی ہے. سو اس کانٹیکس میں اگر ہم دیکھیں تو مجھے ڈینیل ویبسٹر جو کہ ایک ریناؤنڈ پرسنالٹی ہیں کمیونیکیشن کے حوالے سے, ڈاکٹر انجم یقیناً آپ کا ایریا ہے, آپ ان کو بہت ڈیپلی جانتے ہوں گے. ڈینیل ویبسٹر بڑی خوبصورت بات کرتا ہے. وہ کہتا ہے کہ اگر ہماری جو حواس خمسہ ہیں, جو ہماری 5 سینسز ہیں, جو یا جس کو ہم کبھی کبھی 6 سینس بھی کہتے ہیں, کہ جو کامن سینس ہے, کبھی کبھی 7 سینسز بھی ہوتی ہیں جو نان سینس ہے, جو مردوں میں بہت زیادہ ہوتی ہے. تو یہ جو سینسز ہیں, یہ سینسز میری اگر میرا خدا, طاقت, نیچر, آل مائٹی مجھ سے لے لے تو میں اس سے یہ ریکویسٹ کروں گا کہ مجھے صرف ایک پاور دے دیں, دیٹ از دی پاور آف کمیونیکیشن. اگر مجھے وہ پاور آف کمیونیکیشن مل جائے تو آئی ول میک شیور دیٹ ریسٹ آف آل دا پاورز آئی ہیو ریسٹورڈ. تو اتنی پاورفل ہے یہ کمیونیکیشن. اینڈ انفارچونیٹلی ہم گھروں میں اپنے بچوں کو کیا سکھاتے ہیں کہ بڑوں سے بدتمیزی نہیں کرنی, بڑوں کی بات کا جواب نہیں دینا, کوشچن ریز نہیں کرنا, کیوں بولا. جب ہم اپنے بچوں کو ریزننگ نہیں سکھا رہے, جب ہم اپنے بچوں کو اچھے اور برے کی تمیز ہی نہیں سکھا رہے گھر میں, جب ہم ان کو معاشرے میں جو ناانصافیاں ہو رہی اس کے لیے تیار ہی نہیں کر رہے, تو ہم ان کو کیسا انسان بنا رہے ہیں, کیسا سٹیزن بنا رہے ہیں, ہم ان کو کیا امپارٹ کر رہے ہیں, ہم ان کو کون سی ویلیوز دے رہے ہیں, جس کی بات ڈاکٹر نرگس نے بھی کی, باقی پینلسٹ نے بھی کی. سو آئی تھنک دس از ویری امپورٹنٹ کہ جو کمیونیکیشن ہے, وربل نان وربل کمیونیکیشن دونوں ہے. بالکل آبویسلی آپ کی وربل بہت زیادہ اسٹرانگ ہے, آپ کی نان وربل بہت زیادہ اسٹرانگ ہے. آپ کے چونکہ سارے کے ساری انٹینشنز جو ہیں آپ کی آنکھوں سے, آپ کی جسچر سے, آپ کی باڈی سے نظر آ رہی ہوتی ہے. ایک خاتون جو ہے بہت جلدی سمجھ جاتی ہے ایک مرد کی انٹینشن کیا ہے جب وہ بات کر کے اس کو دیکھ رہا ہوتا ہے. سو وہاں سے وہ وسل بلو کے جو معاملات جو ہیں وہ بلنک ہونا شروع ہو جاتے ہیں. سو لیکن ہمیں انکریج نہیں کیا جاتا کہ ہم وہ وسل کو کیسے بلو کریں. میں کوشش کروں گا کہ چند ایک چیزیں جو ہیں وہ آپ کے ساتھ شیئر کر لوں. بیریئرز کیا ہے وسل بلوئنگ میں, وسل بلو جس نے کی ہے اور وسل جس نے ریسیو کی ہے, جس کے پاس پاور ہے, جس کے پاس اتھارٹی ہے, اس کے درمیان میں کیا بیریئرز ہیں. دیز آر ریئلی امپورٹنٹ کہ وہ انوائرمنٹ ہے جس میں وہ وسل بلو کر رہا ہے یا کر رہی ہے, کیا وہ اس کی نیڈز جس کے لیے وہ وسل بلو کی جا رہی ہے وہ ڈریس ہو رہی ہے نہیں ہو رہی, کیا وہ ویلیوز کے ساتھ کہیں کنٹراڈکشن کہاں پر آ رہی ہے, کہیں پہ اس کی ویلیوز اور جو وسل ریسیور ہے جس کے پاس پاور ہے اس کی ویلیوز کے درمیان کنٹراڈکشن تو نہیں ہے, اور وہ ایتھکس اور وہ مورالٹی کہاں پر فال کر رہی ہے. جب ہم اس کے بعد دیکھتے ہیں کہ پھر وسل ریسیو ہونے کے بعد وسل کا رسپانس کیا آیا, اس کی کوڈنگ ان کوڈنگ جو ہے ہمیں کرنے کی ضرورت ہے. وسل ریسیور کا ایجنڈا کیا ہے, کہیں ایسا تو نہیں کہ وہ اس ہمدردی میں میرے ساتھ کیا کرنے جا رہا ہے, یا وسل بلور جو ہے وہ وسل جانے کے بعد کوئی بینیفٹس تو نہیں دینے جا رہا. آل دیز آر ویری کمپلیکس تھنگ اینڈ وی نیڈ ٹو انڈرسٹینڈ دا باٹم لائن, اس کو انڈرسٹینڈ کرنے کی ضرورت ہے. پھر وسل کو جو آپ نے وسل بلو کی اس کا رسپانس دیکھ کے تو پھر اس کے کانسیکوینسز کے لیے کہ آپ لوگ تیار ہیں, کیونکہ ویلیوز ایٹیٹیوڈز جو ہیں وہ بہت زیادہ میٹر کرتی ہیں. ایموشنل رسپانسز, ایموشنل کانفلکٹ بہت زیادہ میٹر کرتے ہیں. جو پرسنل پریجوڈس ہے وہ بہت زیادہ میٹر کرتا ہے. لائکنگ ڈس لائکنگ بہت زیادہ میٹر کرتی ہے. پھر جو پاور پالیٹکس ہے کہ جب وسل بلو تو کی جا رہی ہے کہ کیا وسل بلور نے 3 چیزوں کو اپنے مد نظر رکھا کہ نہیں, کیا اس نے وہ انوائرمنٹ دیکھا ہے جس میں اسے وسل بلو کرنی تھی, کیا اس سے دوسرے شخص کی پاور کو انالائز کیا کہ نہیں, کہ اس کی پاور کہاں پر وہ مس یوز کر سکے گا یا کر سکے گی اس سارے پریکٹسز میں. اور وہ جو منی ہے, جو ریسورسز ہیں. سو ان 3 چیزوں کو جب ہم انالائز کریں گے تو شاید ہم بہتر طریقے سے اس کو کر سکتے ہیں. میرے انڈرسٹینڈنگ کے مطابق 3H پرنسپل بڑا مشہور پرنسپل ہے جس کو ہم کہتے ہیں کہ وسل بلو کے لیے بڑا ضروری ہے. H1 جو ہے ہوک, H2 ہولڈ اینڈ دین ہٹ. اگر ہم وسل بلو کرنا چاہ رہے ہیں واقعی, اگر ہم چاہتے ہیں کہ معاشرے میں ایک تبدیلی کا عمل کو لا سکے, سو پرہیپس وی نیڈ ٹو ہوک, وی نیڈ ٹو انگیج the relevant audience. We need to identify the relevant person, those who can listen to me, those who can support me to blow this whistle. اور ہم تب تک ان کو انگیج رکھیں, تب تک ہم ان کو ہولڈ رکھیں جب تک کہ وہ انوائرمنٹ نہ بن جائے, جب تک کہ گراؤنڈ نہ تیار ہو جائے. اینڈ دین وی نیڈ ٹو ہٹ دا وسل, اینڈ آل دس نیڈ ٹو بی ڈن ویل ان ٹائم, کہ کہیں پہ کسی بھی اسٹیپ پہ ڈیلے نہ ہو جائے. بٹ اگین اٹ از ریئلی ڈپینڈنگ اپان دی values and the knowledge and the practices that you've been brought from the family. تو اس لیے فیملی کا رول بہت زیادہ امپورٹنٹ میرے خیال میں ہے. اچھا, رانگ ڈوئنگ کو کیسے ہم روک سکتے ہیں؟ ڈاکٹر امجد نے بھی بات کی, ڈاکٹر رضیہ نے بھی بات کی صبح اوپننگ ریمارکس میں, یعنی پینل کی اوپننگ میں. سو ڈیولپ اے اسٹرانگ سینس آف کریکٹر بلڈنگ. انسٹیٹیوشن آف کورس کر رہے ہیں, کرتے رہیں گے, لیکن سب سے پہلی درسگاہ ماں کی گود ہے, آپ کا گھر ہے, وہاں سے لے کے ویلیوز کانفلکٹ کریں گی اور ان کو کیسے ریزالو کرنا ہے. کانفلکٹ مینجمنٹ ہمیں سکھانے کی ضرورت ہے. ڈاکٹر نرگس آپ نے یہ بات کہی کہ اس کی کیپیسٹی بلڈنگ ہونی چاہیے, بالکل ٹھیک ہے, اس کی طرف جائیں گے. اور اس کے بعد میکنگ ایتھیکل ڈیسیژن بیسڈ آن پرسنل ویلیوز. اگر میری ویلیوز آپ کی ویلیوز سے کانٹراڈکٹ کر رہی ہیں تو کہاں پر جا کے ہمیں نیگوشیشن کرنی ہے, کہاں پر ہمیں سیٹلمنٹ کرنی ہے. اس کے لیے کوئی آربیٹریشن کاؤنسل ہو, اس کے لیے ہائر ایجوکیشن کمیشن کے اندر کوئی ایک باڈی ہو جس کی بات صبح بھی ہوئی, پہلے سیشن میں بھی, اس سیشن میں بھی ہوئی. اور خاص کر یہ جو ویلیوز بن رہی ہوتی ہے تو اس کے لیے وہ کون سے اصول پیرامیٹرز ہیں جن کو دیکھ کے ہمیں ان ویلیوز کو دیکھنا چاہیے. یہ ایک سلائڈ شاید بیہیویئر اور ایٹیٹیوڈس کے کانٹیکس میں ہے. جب انفارمیشن ہمارے پاس باہر سے آتی ہے اور وہ انفارمیشن ہمارے پاس بیس میں جا کے کہاں پر سٹور ہوتی ہے, دیٹ ایکچولی نیڈ ٹو بی انڈرسٹینڈ. اور وہ جو چیزیں ہیں وہ سارے ہمیں وہ بنا رہے ہوتے ہیں ہمارے ایٹیٹیوڈز اور بیہیویئر کی انڈرسٹینڈنگ بڑی ہمیں کلیئر ہونی چاہیے کہ بیہیویئر برتاؤ ہے جو ہم لوگوں سے ڈیل کرتے ہیں. ایٹیٹیوڈ وہ رویے ہیں جو بلڈ ہوتے ہیں موٹیوز کے اوپر, ایتھکس کے اوپر, بلیف کے اوپر, آئیڈیالوجیز کے اوپر, جو بچپن سے ہمارے ذہنوں میں ڈال دی جاتی. تم یہ ہو, تم مسلمان ہو, تم کرسچن ہو, تم سنی ہو, تم شیعہ ہو, تم ایلیٹ ہو, تم یہ ہو, تم وہ ساری کی ساری ویلیوز وہ سٹور ہو رہی ہوتی ہے اور وہ ہمارے ایٹیٹیوڈ بنا رہی ہوتی ہے. اور وہ ایٹیٹیوڈ جو ہے وہ ریفلیکٹ ہو رہے ہوتے ہیں آگے چل کے کہ ہم نے کیسے جو ہے وہ بیہیو کرنا ہے. اب یہ جو ویلیوز سٹینڈرڈز جو ہم نے اس کو سوسائٹی نے دے دی ہے شروع میں 5-6 سالوں میں گھر میں دے دیے, وہ پھر ہماری ریفلیکشن جو آ رہی ہوتی ہے کبھی اینگر کی صورت میں, کبھی ایکسائٹمنٹ کی صورت میں, اور اس کو جو ہے ود دا پیسج آف ٹائم ہی چینج کیا جا سکتا ہے. اس لیے جو شروع کی بیس ہے, اگر ہم نے وسل بلو کرنی تو وی نیڈ ٹو بلو وسل فرام دا ویری بگننگ فرام آور اون ہومز. ہمیں اپنے گھروں سے شروع کرنی پڑے گی, ہمیں گھروں میں ایجوکیٹ کرنا پڑے گا, تب جا کے وہ بات بن سکے گی. ادروائز پھر ایفرٹس تو ہوتی رہیں گی. اور آئی ایم سو گلیڈ دیٹ دس very first international conference and national conference has been organized by university. We are, of course, we are the facilitator and the supporter, and our support will remain with all of you. آپ نے وسل بلو کر دی اور اب آپ ایکسپیکٹ کر رہے ہیں اس کے کانسیکوینسز کی ہم نے بات کی. اب یہ نہیں ہے کہ آپ کی بات سنی جائے. اب آپ کو اگر آپ نے ہوم ورک کیا ہوا ہے کانسیکوینسز کے لیے تو آپ نے 1000 وسل بلائی ہیں تو شاید کوئی ایک رسپانس آئے گا, اور وہ ایک رسپانس جو ہے نا دیٹ از دی بگننگ, دیٹ از ایکچولی the چینج میکنزم. اب اس ایک رسپانس کو بھی اگر ہم لے آتے ہیں تو آئی تھنک کہ یہ سوسائٹی میں ایک براڈر چینج لے آئے گا. اور اسی کے لیے ہمیں اپنی ایفرٹس کرنی ہے, اور وہ ایفرٹس ہم انشاءاللہ اپنی کرتے رہیں گے. اور ایک جینون وسل بلور جو ہے وہ ہوتا تو وہ بھی کاربن ہی ہے, لیکن وہ کاربن جو ہے نا وہ ڈائمنڈ ہوتا ہے. تو وہ ڈائمنڈ جو ہے ہمیں وہ بننا ہے, اور ہمیں اپنے لوگوں کو وہ بنانا ہے. اور اس کے لیے میں بہت مشکور ہوں اپنے سب پینلسٹ کا بھی, اور خاص کر ڈاکٹر نرگس کا, ڈاکٹر عظمیٰ کا, یونیورسٹی کا, آپ سب کا. اور یہ جو چینج ہے, اب یہ وسل جو بلو کر دی گئی ہے, یہ بلو ہوتی رہے گی تو سوسائٹی میں چینج آتی رہے گی, سوسائٹی میں روشنی آتی رہے گی. بہت سارے چیلنجز آئیں گے, بہت سارے اندھیرے آئیں گے, लेकिन इन अंधेरों से हमें नहीं डरना, इन चैलेंजेस को हमें फेस करना है, और ये चैलेंजेस अल्टीमेटली एक ना एक दिन दूर होंगे, और फिर वो जो चेंज है, वो जो रोशनी का आगाज़ है, वो जो सूरज है, वो यकीनन हमें नज़र आएगा, और वो जो चेंज है वो इंशाल्लाह हम ज़रूर लेके आएंगे। एंड थैंक यू सो मच, फॉर योर पेशेंस। आई विल स्टॉप माई सेल्फ हियर। बहुत शुक्रिया आपका।
Thank you so much, respected sir. It was really indeed a wonderful presentation, and you were scholarly. And I am just going to say that at the end of this presentation, you showed a pool and diamond, and Madam talk about the locus of control, and other panelists also talk about the social pressures. It means every whistleblower, while in a condition of a teacher like a pool, has to face the pressure to become a diamond. And we are wishing together that we must have much more in diamond shape than the previous one.
Inshallah.
Here I would like to call Madam Dr. Nargis Abbas again for the vote of thanks and conclusive remarks for this wonderful session.
If you allow me, then we may request to Dr. Razia to conclude the session and
Yes,
discussion.
please,
And
please. It's a great honor for us.
So thank you so much.
इससे पहले डॉक्टर रजिया कंक्लूड करें, मैं एक सिर्फ कमेंट करना चाहती हूँ, बिकॉज I was not aware totally, I was not involved in this concept, and after that I have read a lot and conducted interviews, and it was really very interesting to conduct this activity. So thank you so much for providing me the opportunity. Thank you.
We are honored, ma'am. We are honored. Actually, ma'am, there was a slang term, madam, 1 minute. When we were conducting the focus group discussions in different universities, like University of Bahawalpur, and there was a slang term used by the teachers. Oh, madam, जब हम आपस में जो चुगली शुगली कर लेते हैं, तो क्या फायदा किसी की बात करने का? That is actually what perceptions and attitude we have towards the actual blowing the whistle. Ji, thank you so much, madam. You may continue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Shahid Minhas and Dr. Uzma and all the panelists. And this very true that at the end of the all discussion, I feel myself more educated, and I learned so much. And there is no doubt about it that yesterday I had the time late in the evening that I read this article which was written by Dr. Nargis Abbas, and that is the crux of her research. And I really appreciate you for the literature that you've gone through, and that I've seen your references at the end, and that showed that you so very much put in the hard work into this research. And then you look for the methodological gaps, and then you look for the theoretical gaps, and there is a dearth of it even all over the world. But despite that, you look for the general theory, and in the light of that, you theorized all the data that you collected from the field, and it's a huge task. But I think it's worth it that you have commendably had done it, and I think some other people, young people, they would build on it further. And as other, I recommend that this has to be from the STPI forum that is shared with the academicians, especially with the psychology people and the educationists and the universities at large, because usually what it happens that some other researchers also, they produce wonderful researches, but they are just confined to themselves or published in some journal. And how many people read those journals? Very few. So the impact that is very narrow. Here, when STPI and Dr. Nargis, you join hands, and the impact has become very broad at an international conference. And people like us, I must say that what I'm saying, that is all based on what on daily basis we come across as a researcher, as a teacher, as a academician, and as a heading an institution. Very little I talked about, and what Dr. Nargis has documented, and Dr. Fatma, the young lady, she talked about it. And I think Shahid had provided a different angle, that he made it more articulated, whatever has been said in a broader way. For example, how to hold it and how to hit it and how to hook it. I think the darya ko kuze mein band karne wali baat thi. So I think I liked it, this 3H formula. This is something that we learn from each other, and you all agreed, I 110% agree with you, that it is all about the character building and the sociological perspective of it that starts from the family, because the first unit of the society is the family itself, the household. And what Dr. Sajda Noreen was talking about, that we have to strengthen the ethical aspect of our society and promote truthfulness and ensure that people speak truth. This is a great ideal, but how, as Shahid rightly mentioned, that how, where, at what time that has to be said, and on what forum that has to be, that means a lot, that bring about a lot of difference. I give another dimension to it, and that is that this is very correct, that we look for that the truth comes out and something wrong is happening, and that is pointed out, and the right course of action is taken, and the wrong things are condemned and they are stopped, and good things are promoted. So I think in a context, one is the ethical context, one is the sociological context to this discussion, and some is the legal context and legislative context to this discussion, and the management, as you talked about, that the universities, they have to, as Dr. Nargis has very clearly mentioned into her research, that there have to be very strong mechanisms into the organizations, that through what people feel confident that whatever that we are saying, the right things we say or point out, the wrongdoing we point out, they are heard, and the concerned people, they are brought to book, they are made accountable. This is something that we say, छोड़ें जी, ये तो पाकिस्तान है, कुछ नहीं होता. So as Dr. Saiba, Dr. Anjum Ziaz has mentioned, that this inaction, this point that I liked about her presentation, that is the major, it's not a fear, but I think this is, this makes people disheartened and frustrated, that no matter we go to the forum, we speak the truth, we have the courage, we show the courage, but nothing happens. So this inaction also discourages people on the campuses and at the society at large. I must say that there is no dearth of people who are courageous, and they are truthful as well, they are ethically strong as well. But this inaction is something in the organization, at different forums. There's so very much politics. Things are, as you rightly mentioned, they are so complex. You cannot take it on the face value that this is something, these are the mechanism, this is the character, and this is something that the good governance has to be ensured. So there is one context of the truthfulness, the ethical aspect of it, and the other one at the societal level is to ensure good governance, as Shahid rightly mentioned. Because at the organization, as sitting at the top of it, we try to make sure that there is the good governance that we promote in the institution, and accountability is one big instrument of it, one big mechanism through which good governance can be ensured. One aspect, as you mentioned, Shahid, that was about Dr. Athar, who is the Vice Chancellor of Islamic College, Islamia University, Bhavalpur. And believe you me, there is so much litigation into the universities just on small thing and perception, and it's a lot of accusation that been done by the people within and without against the vice chancellors or deans or the admission committee or the selection committee, and somebody who is not selected, and there is all blame game starts. The cycle of blame game starts, and that is totally based on the false accusations. Because as you know that the committee members, they are very respected and known people, and there are experts on the committees, and there are consensus decisions based on merit are taken, but you have to select one person. not the entire 20-25% who appear for one position. And amongst them, most of them, they go to the court or they go to the citizen portal, and there are so much now that we didn't talk about. Dr. Nargis, there is another project awaiting you, that this kind of forums, the complaint cells, and there is a prime minister complaint cell, and there is a chief minister complaint cell, and there is a governor's complaint cell, and their right to information, and there are so many avenues that are open. And unfortunately, our society has this strong element of cynicism. So anything that is not serving their interest, and that is wrong, and that is false, and that is dishonest and unfair. So that aspect is a totally very huge, I think, subject, and that also need to be explored and researched as well. So what we face as vice chancellors in university, that is the everyday challenge that we face about. So I think the ethical aspect, the character building that happens on two places. One is the household and the other is the university or school and college. And teachers and the parents, they are the one, as Dr. Anjum Zia mentioned, a capacity build. I like this argument that capacity has to be built. Such kind of elements, they cannot be completely eliminated from the society, but they can be to a great extent controlled, and that is the only solution for it. And I think such kind of debates that are initiated by STPI, they usually come for such kind of ideas. There's no doubt about it that whistleblowing, speaking the truth, is not something new, but I think the way and the time is so current for such kind of research problem. They are genuine or everyday problems, but seeing it scientifically from the research platform, from the research perspective, I think that makes it new. And for that, I congratulate Dr. Nargis and Dr. Shahid also, that you provided opportunity to people like me, that I read your article, that research, and otherwise I wouldn't have been able to read it. And I also liked the presentation of Dr. Fatima, that she gave it very legal, and that the point she brought in, that was about that there has to be a regulatory policy with regard to the whistleblowing, the whistleblowers. And as Shahid rightly mentioned, that we do not encourage at our families to speak the truth. Yes, this is what it happens daily in routine in our families. If the father is at home and somebody knocks at the door, and you tell the child that please tell that he's not at home, and there is a joke about it, that the child goes to the door and tell the stranger that my father says that he's not at home. So just you see, this is how things happen. And then we talk about that character building and whistleblowing. I think the culture has to change, and the society has to also change. The behavioral changes that had to happen. We think that when the student comes to the university, he already comes of age. At the age of 18 now, because this start from BS, the third semester, and the third year, and that is also, I think they come of age. They are adults, and earlier they used to come at the age of 20, 21. And after doing their BA, BScs. So now the university role, there has to be the university role in character building and adding more in capacity building, and giving them the courage and the confidence to behave like a dignified human being in life and in profession. But I think the role of the university is comparatively is very less as compared to the school and the college and the family. So the 14 years, or you see this number of years, they passed, and then they come to the university. Believe you me, the character building, since I've been in the university, I started with the university career. I never felt that this is the job of the university to build the character. I thought this is the job of the college, and more appropriately of the school and the family. primarily of the family. But the university is supposed to give them the confidence, university to build the capacity that they could take decision, they could innovate, they could bring innovative ideas, they become creative, solution of the problem, meeting the challenges, be skillful, such kind of attributes they are attributed by the universities. So usually when I initially joined the university as vice chancellor, so I would not hold this national day, 14 August mana rahe hain hum, 23rd. I said these schools people, they had already done this job, and now I have to provide a good library to my students, that they go to the library and they read the books about the partition and the post-partition, the problems and the challenges on both the sides, and they should decide for themselves whatever perspective they like to bring about, and what kind of research or methodology or theory they like to look for, and then they produce research, and we would like to read that, and that would be exciting. So I was a little of that mind, but with the passage of time, I have changed myself, because now universities are expected that they have to do these quizzes as well, and the character building, all these little Kashmir Day, and we have to celebrate, and we so many these atrocities are being, we know this. I think a student of 14 years and BA, BSc or FAFSC, he or she knows much more about it, that what is happening, or I should provide a good daily newspapers to in the library to the students. They go and they decide for themselves, or the digital library in the university, where they click and they could read the Wall Street Journal or Tribune or anything like the British newspapers and the American newspapers, or world over, whatever they like to
मैडम मुझे
read,
लगता है
they decide for themselves.
बहुत सारे महाजों पे विसल बजानी पड़ेगी अब हमें.
So this was so wonderful. You see, you just enticed the entire this debate, and there is so much to say, but probably you would like to take some questions from the students as well. And I'm so very happy and grateful to you and Uzma and Nargis and Fatima and this Anjum and Dr. Sajida as well. We met, and what little I believe in, and I think, and I try to discuss that too. And I agree 110% with you that these all are debate continues on.
Thank you. Key concluding remarks के लिए अगर so probably Dr. Nargis.
Sir, I would like Dr. Uzma Ashik
please,
will
Dr.
proceed. Ma'am, I just want to add one thing. The whole procedure, जितना भी हमने project का किया, it couldn't be possible without Dr. Uzma Ashik. She has always been my inspiration. She has a very strong grip on the theoretical side. I am not a very good qualitative person. I am a little bit quantitative person. इसमें हमारी दोनों की थोड़ी चोंचें भी जो है ना वो लड़ती हैं, लेकिन in the end we able to produce something good. मतलब कोई worth while हो reading के लिए, कोई चीज हो जिसे हम पढ़ सकें और किसी नतीजे पे पहुंच सकें. And through all this procedure of an application, writing the proposal, applying to the HEC, then going to for the presentation in Government College University, Faisalabad. We were both together, and it was really a very good adventure for us. And I really appreciate what the Dr. Uzma Ashik always been with me, and she's really a source of inspiration for me. And without her, this thing, I think I wouldn't be able to complete this task.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. You are so generous, and this is actually a boosting dose for me. I'm not going to conclude or giving the vote of thanks to the panelists, because I feel I'm too junior. Dr. Shahid Saab will be there. And I just want to say, madam, you are very right that we can't change the behaviors at university level. Actually, what we can do, we can polish, mend and reshape the behaviors. We can teach them the social masking, not masking like the perforated mask. They should wear their social mask very accurately, and they must learn how to behave with civic sense. And I'm really very happy to have you all, especially Dr. Razia, because we are nearly going to be in Peshawar University for data collection in the next upcoming months. There in the Department of Social Work, Dr. Shakil Saab is there, Professor Dr. Mirza Dasar, and Dr. Sara Safdar. Inshallah, we are going to meet you and Dr. Fatma Rehan Dar and Dr. Anjum Sia and Dr. Saida Noreen. Inshallah, we will be in your universities as well. Thank you.
Thank you very
so
much. You're most welcome.
Thank you. और जी डॉक्टर साइदा तो मैं पर्सनली विटनेस हूँ कि शी इज ए डायमंड. उन्होंने जिस तरीके से फाइट किया है और उन्होंने जिस तरीके से विसल ब्लो किया राइट्स के लिए, इंस्टीट्यूशन के लिए, हैट्स ऑफ टू डॉक्टर साइदा. डॉक्टर फातिमा, सो आपके लिए तो अल्फाज नहीं है. सो इकरा यूनिवर्सिटी और STPI इज वेरी क्लोज इन होल्डिंग नंबर ऑफ वेबिनार्स एंड अदर एक्टिविटीज. एक आखिरी रिक्वेस्ट ये है कि ये जितने आप लोग सब लोग हैं, डॉक्टर फातिमा, डॉक्टर साइदा, सरगोदा यूनिवर्सिटी के लोग और मैडम रजिया, आई थिंक के सिनर्जीज दोबारा से बिल्ड करते हैं और इन चीज़ों को आगे लेके चलते हैं. और जो पॉलिसी इंटरवेंशन है, जो पॉलिसी रिसर्च गैप्स हैं उसके हवाले से, और जो स्ट्रेंथिंग ऑफ दिस पूरे जो कॉन्सेप्ट इस पर करेंगे. आप सबका बहुत शुक्रिया, आप सबके वैल्यूएबल टाइम का, और सब जितने ऑडियंस हैं, जितने लोग हमें सुन रहे थे, उन सबका बहुत शुक्रिया. STPI की टीम का शुक्रिया, सरगोदा यूनिवर्सिटी की टीम का शुक्रिया फॉर मेकिंग ऑल, एंड थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर प्रेशियस टाइम. गॉड ब्लेस यू, स्टे ब्लेस, अल्लाह हाफिज. इंशाल्लाह मुलाकात होती है. अभी हमारा एक नेक्स्ट पैनल है, इंशाल्लाह विल कीप इन टच है. बहुत शुक्रिया, थैंक यू जी, अल्लाह हाफिज.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you so much.
Allah Hafiz. Stay blessed.